Alright, my name is Byrens. As you guys all know, I'm currently a junior in the insurance and risk management major. I talked to you guys originally about understanding insurance, and we had talked about kind of the auto stuff. I just wanted to quickly review a couple of those things. Obviously, most of you guys understand that Michigan is not an actual full-blown no-fault insurance state. I had a great example. Just yesterday, I had a lady come in who worked for Battle Creek Healthcare System, and she had originally worked for an insurance company. And I was talking to her about, we were going over her auto insurance as well as her homeowner's insurance, and we were looking at some life insurance as well. She has 2 kids, one's going into the military, the other one's just heading off to college. And the big benefit here is she finally asked me, why would I want to work with an agency rather than just go online and work with someone like eSurance or one of those other companies? Well, we sat down and we started talking about things like no fault and everything like that, and I asked her, obviously the minimums are 20/40, which I told you guys, that's $20,000 per person in an accident, up to a $40,000 total. So there's 4 people in the car. The most that they can all receive would be $10,000, and that would be the best possible situation if you had the minimum. And that's if someone turns around and sues you. So let's just take that base number of $100,000, and this is the same example I was giving her. And someone turns around and sues you for $100,000 for their own personal injuries. You've got $20,000 from your insurance company. Where's that $80,000 coming from? She had just refinanced her home, and this is someone who already worked for an insurance company. She literally had no idea that that's what that meant. She thought that that was just benefits for handling, if someone needs to go to the hospital or something like that. It said bodily injury when I was going over my policy. Well, yeah, that's your liability coverage. That has nothing to do with your own bodily injury or anything like that. That has to do with that third party in the accident. And, we really talked about the main thing when you come into an agency is I went through this whole process with her, and I had started her out at the required quotes that she wanted, which of course is a lower commission for me. And obviously you know that a lot of us in the insurance industry are paid on commissions. So there are some situations where you will deal with agencies that are solely trying to make their own money. But in the long run, if you spend your time in an agency taking care of people first and then yourself, you will notice that you will go a lot farther than you would if you were trying to attempt these little lies, the fraud, everything like that. And what we're looking at here is, like I said, the basics is what I was just talking about. It's that PLPD. As we went over and discussed everything, I eventually talked her into bumping her limits up. Even then, I can't suggest for you to sit at 100, 300, which is where we got her up to, because as an insurance person, if you turn around and you say to me, hey, you told me I was okay at $100,000, and all of a sudden I'm being sued for $300,000 for one accident, that's my fault. I should have told you to go higher. So as we discussed that, she went up higher, and in the long run, I thought this was really interesting. To go from $20,000 for 2 cars, all the way up to $100,000 in liability coverage, her final total at the end of the month for 2 more vehicles was to add $7 a month to each vehicle, to gain $80,000 more of coverage. So in the long run, if you think about it, the insurance companies are not trying to steal money from you. When you look at this pool of this whole neighbor helping neighbor thing, all these policies are in one set situation and it's all in one pool. So you may never have a claim for 20 years, but your best friend might turn around and receive $100,000. You're going to be darn glad that they had that money. And it all comes from all these policies being together, whether it be in any insurance company. That's why Michigan really works on this no-fault. But what I really wanted to work towards was moving on from covering your own automobile and obviously understanding all these perks that you can get from one automobile coverage. From one auto insurance coverage. For example, this is really impressive. Emergency roadside. I discussed this with the man that came in. Her name was Wendy Benoit. And actually, what's really fun about working in the industry as well as the agency, we sat there and we talked about, her husband refinancing the home, her kids. I mean, I know more about her than I do about even some of my frat brothers. It's one of those things where you sit down, you get to know these people, you are taking care of their money, their assets, the things that are the most important to them. Yeah, you're always going to want a house over your head, and the second that I described her, if you get sued and someone turns around and says, I need $80,000 from you, and you just refinance your home's gone. They will take your home from you in order to get that money. I mean, it's cutthroat out there. It's that kind of thing. So by simply going up $7 per auto, she gained $80,000 more of coverage.